struggling single mom saw her first love at an airport, not knowing he was now a millionaire CEO, and still lonely. If you like this story, feel free to hit the hype button. It really helps. Rain drizzled softly against the airport windows, blurring the view of airplanes taking off into the gray sky. Inside, Sarah Mitchell, a tired single mother of a 7-year-old boy, sat quietly in the waiting area, clutching a worn-out backpack and a cheap cup of coffee that had already gone cold. Her eyes were heavy, not from the sleepless night before, but from years of fighting battles no one ever saw. She wasn't supposed to be here today. Her flight had been delayed because of the weather, and she was using her last few dollars to keep her son, Ethan, fed and calm. She watched him giggle softly while drawing stick figures in an old notebook, his innocence shielding him from the storm of struggles she carried on her shoulders. Sarah sighed and glanced around the busy terminal. Businessmen rushing, families reuniting, lovers embracing. It all felt so distant from her reality, until her eyes stopped on one man. He stood tall near the boarding gates, dressed in a sharp gray suit, speaking on the phone with quiet authority. Something about him felt familiar, the way he rubbed his forehead when thinking, the calm in his voice, the soft intensity in his eyes. Then it hit her like lightning. Daniel Hayes. Her heart skipped a beat. Daniel, her first love. The boy who once promised to marry her under the old oak tree in their hometown. The one who left for the city to chase his dreams while she stayed behind, raising a child on her own. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. It had been almost 8 years since they last saw each other. He looked different now, confident, composed, successful. There was no trace of the struggling college student she once knew. Yet, behind that polished exterior, there was something else, an emptiness in his eyes that mirrored her own. When Daniel hung up the phone, his gaze wandered through the crowd and froze. He blinked, almost in disbelief. Sarah? He hesitated, unsure if he should approach her. What would he even say? Hi. Sorry I disappeared years ago? But then he saw the little boy beside her, drawing on the notebook with her same brown eyes and curious smile. Without thinking, he walked over. Sarah? She looked up, startled, nearly dropping her coffee. Daniel. Wow. Hi. He smiled nervously. It's been a long time. Yeah, she whispered, glancing down at Ethan. A very long time. There was a heavy pause, thick with unspoken words. Daniel glanced at the boy again. He's your son? Yes, she said softly. Ethan. The boy looked up and grinned. Hi. Are you on a plane too, mister? Daniel chuckled. Yeah, I am. Sarah smiled faintly, embarrassed. Sorry. He talks to everyone. No, it's fine, Daniel said warmly. He's a bright kid. They ended up sitting together in the coffee shop corner near the gate. As the minutes passed, the awkwardness began to fade, replaced by nostalgia and curiosity. Sarah told him about her life, the early marriage that fell apart, her husband leaving before Ethan was even born, the years of scraping by between jobs and sleepless nights. She spoke without self-pity, just quiet honesty. Daniel listened, his heart tightening with every word. He wanted to say something, anything, but guilt kept his throat closed. Then, she asked, And you? You seem successful. He gave a small, almost bitter smile. Yeah, I guess. The company took off a few years ago. Now I travel more than I sleep. She laughed softly. That sounds lonely. He looked down. It is. Their eyes met. For a moment, it felt like time had turned back, like two lost souls finding the pieces they didn't know they'd lost. When the announcement for her flight came on, Sarah gathered their things. Well, she said gently, it was good seeing you again. Really good. Daniel hesitated. His voice was quiet when he said, Sarah, wait, please have dinner with me tonight, just to catch up. No expectations. She looked uncertain. Daniel, I can't. I don't fit into your world anymore. He stepped closer, his tone sincere. Sarah, you were my world once. And maybe I walked away from the only thing that ever truly mattered. Her eyes welled up, but she shook her head. People change. Maybe, he said, but not how I feel when I see you. Ethan tugged at her sleeve. Mom, can we see him again? He's nice. Sarah smiled sadly. We'll see, honey. That evening, as she boarded the plane, she looked out the window, only to see Daniel standing near the glass outside the terminal, watching her leave, his expression unreadable. When the plane took off, she couldn't stop thinking about him. And miles away, Daniel couldn't stop thinking about her. Weeks later, Sarah returned home to find a letter waiting in her mailbox. It was from Daniel. Inside was a handwritten note that read, I never stopped loving you, Sarah. If life gives us another chance, I won't waste it this time. You once believed in me when I had nothing. Let me now believe in you when you feel you have nothing to... Daniel. There was also a small card, an invitation to a community program sponsored by his company. It offered scholarships for single parents pursuing education or career training. At the bottom, scribbled in Daniel's handwriting, were the words, This one's in your name. Tears streamed down Sarah's face. For the first time in years, hope didn't feel like a stranger. Months passed. Sarah, now studying part-time and working with Daniel's foundation, saw her life slowly rebuild. And one evening, as the sun set over the city skyline, she met Daniel again. This time, not by accident, but by choice, he greeted her with that same gentle smile from years ago. Took us a while, huh? She laughed through her tears. Yeah, but maybe we both had to break a little to find what really matters. Daniel reached out his hand. Then let's not waste another day. Sarah took it, feeling the warmth of a second chance. The kind life rarely gives, but always rewards when it does. Final message. Love doesn't always fade. It waits. Sometimes it hides behind pain, distance, and time. But when two hearts are meant to find their way back, no amount of success, struggle, or years apart can stop them. Because real love isn't about wealth or status. It's about seeing someone's soul and still choosing them, again and again.